Hello there, World of Tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm, of course, your host, World of Blitz, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about the Tier 7 heavy tank, the Vulcan. This is not only one of the rarest vehicles at Tier 7 you'll find, with only about 20-ish people playing it. That's not a very large amount, but as well, one of the ugliest tanks you'll probably find at Tier 7. And granted, while it is ugly, it actually does have some redeeming factors going for it. First of all, it's got a very nice alpha at 350. It's got the ability to shoot enemy opponents, and even though this thing has literally no armor, which is its biggest letdown by far, you still do get the ability to shoot the enemy for a very nice punchy alpha of 350. It's enough to deal with Tier 8s, it's enough to bully Tier 7s, and enough to wreck Tier 6 opponents. As well, while this thing may not have any armor, it does have a massive hit point pool for a Tier 7 heavy at 1700 hit points. That's ridiculous. 1,750 hit points. You really wouldn't expect a heavy tank to be sitting at that much at Tier 7. In fact, I didn't even know that until I was looking at the stats, and I was like, what the absolute heck? Which means that, you know, a vehicle, let's say like the Smasher here, which granted is sitting at a lot of hit points, but it's at 1,537. The Vulcan is sitting at 200 more hit points, which gives this tank the ability to tank a lot more shells. It's actually decently quick, going over 30-ish kilometers per hour. I think it goes like 36 or so. It's not bad on mobility. It's able to get up to top speed. It's got a decent power to weight ratio. It's got decent traverse speed. The issue, again, is the armor, especially against Tier 8 opponents. The turret has no armor whatsoever. It's about 180 millimeters thick on the entire turret, even through the mantlet, because you can see that mantlet is like a sugar wafer on the thickness. It really makes no sense why Wargaming made it so weak, but yeah, the armor doesn't exist. The lower plate's about 180, the upper part's about 170. It has no armor. The only thing you can do with this tank, which I do love doing, is against a not-so-great enemy opponent, they'll think that the spaced armor on the sides actually counts as the hull, and they'll try shooting it when you side scrape, which actually gives you some pretty nice bounces. Now, we got the Tiger one off to the side, who probably spotted me, but he actually didn't. Wow, that's very surprising. I'm very, very surprised for that, actually. But let's aim in on this Tiger. Let's keep aiming, and he's going to over-angle aside, so we'll get a nice tap in for our exact alpha of 350. Not too bad. The nice thing about having alpha is you always get those big smacks out onto the enemy. So we can... yeah, that's the armor for you, by the way. Not great, not great. He went probably, yep, right through our turret, which makes sense because, as I said, this thing has no turret armor. So, yeah, not great. But the enemy team's not doing too great either, I can tell you that. So we got the BIS over here, which is a not-so-great tank, but we're not doing too bad right now. I would love to get some shells out into, like, the SU-152, but we got to move up to get those shells out. We also got the MT-25 over here. Let's get a nice shot into the side of him. I will say, the dispersion on this tank is very, very lackluster. Sitting at 0.398, yeah, probably couldn't have asked for a worse value. But, you know what? We got a nice shot right into the lower plate of the MT-25. I know that that thing's got literally no armor, which is good for me, because that means we can easily butter right through him. We got the SU-152 off to the side over here. We've also got some tanks over there, but... right now, we're going to see if we can get some shells out into the enemy tank destroyers. And yeet! There you go. Nice shot. 400 roll as well. Not too bad by any means. That's some nice things about this tank is that big old chunky alpha again. Being able to roll people for 350 feels pretty dang good. And it's one thing I do really enjoy about this tank. The SU did finish off my teammates, but that's not going to be without any repercussions because you are about to get slappered. Come on, and Wi-Fi, finish him off. Should finish him off. I believe in you. You can do it. Or not. Or not. Come on. Kill him. Good. Nice shooting from the Y5. And with that, this first game wasn't bad at all. We did a decent job. We got some shells out. Not too bad. This is what I like about the tank. It's really got this whole weird variety of things going for it. But, you know what? Oh, these guys aren't the best players. But, you know what? I'll give him credit. Maybe he had a lag spike there. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But nonetheless, we did a pretty solid job for the first game. You can see that against Tier 7 opponents, it does a decent job. 2,355 damage isn't too bad. And one thing I forgot to mention is that this tank is actually decent for ramming, that it does weigh a pretty decent amount at 64.85 tons. That's very, very heavy. That's almost the same weight as vehicles like the, what is it, the Gravedigger at Tier 7. So because of that, some people think that it's this big, ugly tank that you can easily ram, and then you ram them and they whip off a massive chunk of hit points. It is actually a very heavy tank, which is rare. because most of the Valkyria Chronicle tanks are very heavy looking, but they don't weigh anything at all. But you can see that compared to the E75 TS, this thing is massive. In fact, this thing is probably just as tall as a mouse, and that's not great, because, again, the armor on this tank is non-existent. A map like Mines you'd think is normally really good for a tank like this, but the turret armor really lets it down, so we'll see what we can do in today's video on Mines. Now, of course, if you enjoyed today's video and you want to see more like it, please consider smashing... What the? Okay, you know what? You know what? Wargaming just doesn't like me sometimes, but if you want to see more videos like this, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. I like doing weird tanks like this because I think it's interesting. Not a lot of people talk about them, so I figure why not talk about them in today's video. Now, we got that VK100 pushing off to the weird side, and he's kind of sitting at the back, so he's just getting bullied by the enemy team. But we got other vehicles spotted over there, so I'm going to try and go over to the heavy side, yeah. I'm thinking that's probably the best course of action right now. Me, the 75 TS, which I actually have more alpha than him. Again, that's the really nice thing about this tank is alpha. Alpha is always key. There's the 43. Let's get a nice little snap into him. But yeah, you can see he went right through our track wheel. And yeah, again, armor, not really a great thing. Like, look at the armor on this thing. It really just doesn't exist. But you know what? You don't exist either. Haha, take that, you art. Look at that. What the? How did he even pen that shot? Like, come on, Wargaming. And even though this KV4 is carrying the 122, which normally would be way better for me because he's got less pen, in this exact scenario, it's actually worse for me because he's got more alpha. So we're just going to try and push up ahead here. I want to try and get into this position because I think it'll be better for me. Yeah, this is not too bad. We got that Yag Panther 2 who literally just buttered right through our armor again, as always. You know, armor, not something this tank's the best with. Yeah, right through the turret. But, you know what, a big, nice alpha tap isn't too bad, and I'll take it. I will take a shot of about 400 on this tank. We've also got that KV4 back here. Oh, I think that guy tried to shoot our space G. As you can see, a lot of people don't realize that the spaced armor on this tank does not count as part of the hull, which gives you some pretty nice bounces. So let's aim in once again on this KV4. Yep, there you go. Going right through my turret armor once again. Let's aim in, though. There you go. Nice shot for 281, but... yeah, the armor on this tank really is a letdown. It's the biggest killer. All they need to do is buff the turret armor so that it's something decent, but really, they're never going to, because Wargaming's never going to touch this tank. Nonetheless, so, we didn't do great this battle. There really wasn't much we could do, judging that we're on Mines, and a tank that really doesn't do a fantastic job, but nonetheless... we did a decent job. We did about 1,400 damage, which isn't too bad. 23,000 credits, which isn't great, but nonetheless, we're doing pretty good. Can't complain all too much, and the tank did its job for most of the games. I've got an 83% in it, but, you know, it's only 23 games. So, overall, would I ever suggest to buy this thing at the stores? No. Save your money. Get your hands on the Nameless, get your hands on the Gravedigger, the Annihilator, the Smasher, the Lupus, the Predator, the Vulcan, the IS-2SH Pravda, the IS-2S... or not the IS-2SH Pravda, the IS-2 Pravda, IS-2 1945, Tankenstein, or the M6A2E1. Yeah, that's about all the heavies I'd suggest getting over. Or the Tiger 1, that one too. The Tiger 1's a pretty good tank. So, yeah, overall, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, as it helps out the channel a crazy, crazy amount. But other than that, hopefully all of you are doing well out there. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.